It's 5:30. I'm going to call this February 6th Board of Aldermen meeting to order. If you all please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, roll call, please.
Alderman Osteen?
Here.
Alderman Rose?
Here.
Alderman Ross? Alderman Rucker?
Here.
Alderman Barilla?
Here.
Alderman Hoffman?
Here.
Mayor Hermanson?
Here. All right, we do have a quorum. We'll move on to citizens' communication. This is a time set aside on the agenda for citizens and visitors to address the mayor and the board on any topic that is not a public hearing. For those here in person, speakers may be restricted to 3 minutes unless otherwise permitted. Minutes may not be donated or transferred from one speaker to another. Any questions or comments for the mayor and the board may be sent to the city clerk at tberreth@osagebeach.org no later than 10 a.m. on the board meeting day, the first and third Thursday of each month. Submitted questions and comments may be read during citizens' communication section of the agenda. The Board of Aldermen will not take any action on any item not listed on the agenda, nor will it respond to questions, although staff may be directed to respond at a later time. The mayor and the board welcome and value input from the public. Is there anyone here who would like to address the board? Come on up. If you would, please sign in.
Already signed in.
All right.
Oh, evening, gentlemen, ladies. I was going to retire, and I decided to pick this beautiful area to retire and spend my final days. There are other towns out there in this United States that want to have the world's largest rocking chair, or the world, iconic things to make people where people can take pictures and stuff. Well, the world's hottest place, the world's largest ball of twine. I've even heard there's a city that actually spent time and money to have the world's longest boat parade. We already have a world record here. The 1-year anniversary is coming up shortly. Yes, I'm talking about we have a world record paddlefish. So what I would like to do is, if the city could put up a life-size statue of a paddlefish with a plaque, showing, that it was caught here, the world record is right here. And that would be like an iconic something where tourists, you put it out on the strip or a welcome center. It'd be something where basically, tourist people could take a picture and have a remembrance of this place, because, it's like, with a picture of the arch or something, it's something iconic. So all I'm saying is, we have the world record, it's here. And if you just promote it a little bit, and if you follow up maybe with a little bit more, because I came from the Chicago area, we used to put up cows, statues of cows, and it made a lot of money. I mean, Asheville did it with pigs. I think there's a place in Tennessee that did it with boots. But it was something iconic, and it made a lot of money for all charities. So it's just something I would like you to think about. And being a new person here, I don't have any connections, and you guys are the connections. So thank you for your time, and appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Yes. All right. Anyone else would like to address the board? All right. Seeing none, we'll move on to the approval of the consent agenda. If the board so desires, the consent agenda may be approved in a single motion. Has the board had a chance to review the Board of Aldermen minutes from January 16th, 2025, and the bills list from February 6th, 2025? And do I have any comments, questions, or corrections on those two? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Alderman Rucker, do I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Rose, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the consent agenda has been approved, has passed. All right, we have one item under unfinished business. It's a discussion of the pressure release valve, the PRVs, and I believe Cole's going to take this.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. My computer's restarting, so I don't have this in front of me, but
Per the board's direction, after our previous meeting about the PRVs, staff met and discussed a few options for phasing out PRVs while maintaining a high level of customer service. And what you have in front of you, I believe you should have the piece of paper we intend to use as well. What we're essentially proposing to do is go through a multi-year phase out of these pressure reducing valves. As noted, the ordinance we have is important, and the staff strongly recommends keeping it exactly the way it is for liability reasons, for protecting the city. Also, while we have PRVs in something like 75% of the water meter pits in the city, they may not be needed in all of them. And so this lets us address each meter on a case-by-case basis. And only put the PRVs where they are needed, and frankly, where the customer wants one. If the customer is satisfied with their service without it, then they can choose to go without. But we've left them with options. We'll make sure that we've got a pretty good stock of PRVs to provide long-term loaners, and this will phase the city out of the PRV business very gradually, and ultimately give us plenty of time to educate customers on what they might need, what they might want, and their various options going forward. So we just wanted to, because there's no ordinance change that goes with this, it's on as a discussion item because we're not proposing a change, but we just wanted to bring this to the board and make sure everyone understood that that was the direction we intended to go, and give the board a chance to comment and provide feedback.
Very good. Comments, questions from the board?
Go ahead.
Alderman Hoffman.
Yeah, I support not changing the ordinance. I think the ordinance is just fine the way it is and important for us. Definitely I appreciate the staff being so candid and strong about that. I spoke to Alderman Ross earlier, and something that he wanted me to bring up, and this is a concern of mine too. So if someone goes out and we change it, and then, say a year later, it goes out again, and it's time for them to pay for one, can they purchase one and put it inside our tank or our hole?
The short answer to that is no, and that's really, we're trying to define, and especially in these situations where, like for instance, my house, where we're outside city limits and we don't have, the ordinance, so our ordinances don't apply. The meter pit really is the end of city ownership, and so we're trying to keep private infrastructure out of the meter pit and public infrastructure off of private lines. So just have a clear, bright line, this is where it's going to be. From a liability standpoint, we don't want private, whether it's somebody DIYing it or a plumber, working in our pit, cutting our line, cutting stuff that belongs to us and installing a private equipment on top of our stuff, because then if it fails, it opens up the debate of, well, was it their work that did it? Was it our equipment that failed? What happened? So by far the best practice is to draw the line at the meter pit. The meter pit's the cities, everything beyond the meter pit is the customers.
So could they, when it's time for them to pay for one, could they pay us to put one in there? Because it sounds to me like they're now having to either dig their own pit or put it inside their house.
Those are two of the options. There is a third, and I don't think we discussed it at the meeting, but Zach or Drew pointed it out during one of our conversations. You don't actually have to put your own, dig a pit to put in a PRV. You can simply dig, 3 feet beyond the meter pit, put your PRV, like, so if I was gonna do it at my house, that's what I would do. I would simply say, okay, 3 feet from the pit, dig down, dig up the sod, put it in, cut the line, put it in, bury it. Putting in a pit does make it easier to find and get to when you need to replace it in 10 years. But if you have a sod yard like I do, and like a lot of our customers would, it's by far more cost effective to just dig it up every 10 years. So, I mean, and that you're looking at the cost of a shovel and the parts.
What's the normal life expectancy on one of these things?
10-ish years, give or take.
Oh, yeah, you get 20 on some of them.
Okay.
It all depends on the location used.
So I would like to see the possibility of us being able to, even if it's for a fee, to where we're replacing it and putting it in there so they're not having to dig their yard up and the pit up. But I understand that that might not work.
Concern with that is, we have taken this position, that the ordinance we have is the one we like. That ordinance says the city is not responsible for pressure. If we take on providing PRVs for customers, we're now responsible for pressure.
Okay, so if it goes into that pit, we're responsible for it.
They will argue that we are, and we will spend the attorney's fees to find out who's right and who's wrong.
Gotcha. Okay, so just so that, a heads up, Alderman Ross is out of the country. I don't know exactly where he's aligned with that, but he's probably going to want to come in and have some one-on-ones with somebody about it to get caught up to speed.
And we only got it on this one because I wasn't going to be here for the next one, so we're going to miss each other. But happy to discuss that with him. Really, it's that drawing the line at the meter pit and
Sure.
not taking on responsibility for pressure. Because if you put it inside the house, right where the supply line comes in, the only issue you're going to the only downside to doing it that way is it exposes the service line to pressure. That's not going to be an issue in most circumstances, and if it is, that's due to aging infrastructure, private infrastructure, not anything the city's done wrong.
The only thing that concerns me is that, things have been built uniquely around here. So it's not like we just have a status quo. Sure. So last thing is, I think that, I love the gradual phase out. I really appreciate staff finding that solution for us. I think that needs to get out there on a press release, not just once, but, every quarterly. Let's make sure that people know that this is a possibility so that if for no other reason, they can't come down here and say, we never told you, and we want to make sure that we are educating the public on this.
We can make sure that there's information out there that if somebody has a pressure issue, that the city offers courtesy loaners until they get their pressure issue resolved.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Alderman Rucker, do you have something?
Excuse me. A couple of things. I support taking this approach. I don't have a problem with that, but I believe there's a couple of caveats I'd like to put into it. Number one, it says here we would extend the program out 2 years or until we run out of meters. I can't live with that. That's not acceptable. We need to give a time frame. It's not, we could run out of meters in 2 years, or we could run out in 6 months or 3. We need to say a time frame. And I would say that we just tell them 2 years. If we run out of meters in a year and a half, we got to buy some. I don't like that time until we run out. There needs to be a line in the sand.
I think we meant that kind of more as the greater of, not the, if we run out in 2 months, obviously that's not 2 years. So I think we were talking about it as 2 years, or if we still have them in 2 years.
Then I can go with that, but I want a minimum of 2 years and I think that's only fair so everybody knows.
The greater of when we run out or 2 years.
The other question I have is, and I'm just taking myself, I think I have one in my pit. I don't know. Okay, I do. Okay. Now, is there any way I can find out that I don't need it? Is the water? Can you guys come out and bypass it? Or do I just have to wait until it goes out and then figure out in other words, I can't be proactive, I guess is what I'm looking at. That's what I don't understand. There's no way to be proactive?
There is. We have hydrant models of the entire city. I believe your house sits like around that 120, 140 mark. So we could tell you just on a phone call. And if it was close, we could come out and check it if we knew it was right on that line and we wanted to make sure. But yeah, we could check them. Because
that will be the other thing, it's just so that the people can be proactive rather than just waiting. I didn't know how they could do that.
Yeah.
So what's an acceptable or?
Target's 80.
Yeah, it wouldn't bother me to have a house at 90 or, most residential plumbing should be easily able to hold anything in the 180 PSI. It's just,
Okay.
we set them at 60, we go up to 80. After 80, that's kind of our recommendation, but yeah, I think pop-off out will go at like 115, 120. So that's there's some devices in the house that don't like it outside of the lines, but yeah. I would say that 80 PSI is a good mark.
As long as we can say, because the way it reads here, could be like 2 months and we could be out of the program. And if you intended it to be 2 years or longer, then that's
And that
great.
was just to give us a little bit of flexibility just between ordering and if we had a big surge and kind of, wasn't a guarantee, but yeah, we'll try to keep them on hand as best we can.
Okay, that's all. I can support that.
Okay.
This is a discussion item, so do you have enough direction, or did you have anything down here? All right, do you have enough direction then?
I think we're good.
Very good. All right. Very good. We're going to move on to new business. First item is a public hearing. It's a public hearing special use permit, case number 416, Richard R. Ellerman, requesting an SUP to allow residential development in a commercial district. Is there anybody here that would like to speak on behalf or against this? Oh, you're going to talk about it first?
I could do that
All right, you go ahead.
for the audience.
All right, very good, thank you. For those at home listening, this is Kerry Patterson.
Mayor, members of the board, as the mayor said, this is a request by Richard R. Ellerman. Most of you probably know him as Rick. Rick Ellerman has been a local business owner and owns a number of properties within the community for quite some time. He is requesting a special use permit to allow residential development in a commercial district. I know it probably feels at this point like we're having a fire sale on these special use permits, but as I was telling Alderman Morose, we're kind of in that position with a lot of the properties that we have left in the community. We have a lot of properties in the community that are zoned commercial, that people have maintained the commercial zoning on, but now that we're getting further down the road and they're finding their properties off of the main corridors of the highways or Osage Beach Parkway, the opportunity to put in some of our much-needed residential has popped up, and they've come in to speak to me about it. And as I told you on the last time that we had one back behind the old Mexicali Blues, it's great to allow this to happen. It allows it to stay commercial in case commercial does come up. But with the provisions that I've put in there, just like I did the last time, if they start to build commercial, then the SUP is null and void. And once they start building residential, they can't put commercial in it. The important aspects of this request is 2.3 acres. They're asking for residential uses to the point of 30 maximum single-family type units on one 2.3 acre piece of property. The important points to look at are these are rentals. They cannot be separated and sold separately. There is a 30-day minimum on the rentals of these. So what you're dealing with in a situation like this is full-time residents or people who want to be full-time residents. These are not going to be, weekend stay little cabins or anything like that. Mr. Ellerman wanted to do, he's not planning on doing anything less than a year. I told him that R3 requires 30 days, and I would recommend that to him simply because he's got a construction company, and if he has an open unit and he has some construction crews down here that is doing work in town, that he would be able to put them up in his units, for 30 days or more. So there's no reason to further restrict him other than 30 days. That's what anybody else would be required to do. In this particular situation, the other thing that we're looking at is Lyons Road. If you did go out there and take a look at the property, you found that Lyons Road is an existing gravel street, but is not actually a street that is on public property. So what we would require is that now they would have to update or upgrade the road to a hard surface that we would require for residential type streets or public streets. We'll attempt to get some right-of-way, but they can do it as an easement if they want to. The bottom line is they've got to rebuild the street or update the street so that it can handle the pressure that the development is going to put on it by way of vehicles going back to the completed development, we hope. And along with that, they'll have to provide us with a fully engineered site development plan that will meet all of the requirements for sewer, water, street, parking lot services, drainage, and everything else. I took this to the Planning Commission at their last meeting, and they forwarded it to you with a recommendation to approve with all of the conditions written in the report.
Thank you, Mr. Patterson.
Yes, sir.
Now, this is a public hearing portion of this, so I assume you don't want to talk on it, right?
No, I'm good.
All right, no. All right, so do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion to close.
Alderman Hoffman, do I have a second? Alderman Morose, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, public hearing has been closed. Next, we have special use permit, case number 416. Richard E. Ellerman requests an SUP to allow residential development in a commercial district. Anything else from the board or Carrie or Alderman Hoffman?
I would, the special road district is most likely going to, at a 90-10, pave that road for them. I know they've been working with the special road district, who I think already did approve the funds set aside for it. No? Can't remember. There was, I know it was up for discussion or something. Okay. They are working with them, so I feel confident it's going to, that Rick Ellerman has a really good plan for getting that done. And I'm real familiar with the property, as it's pretty close to my property, and it's been sitting back there zone commercial doing nothing for quite some time. And as we all know, getting more affordable housing here in Osage Beach is important. So I strongly support this.
Very good. Anyone else? Alderman Morose.
Yes, I applaud Rick Ellerman of moving forward with something like this. It's just the beginning, I hope. Are they going to be 1, 2, 3 bedrooms? Do you know the layout?
I haven't seen the total layout, but most of them will be at least 2 bedrooms. They're going to be, at least according to them, approximately 800 square feet per unit. So, you know, some people are throwing out tiny homes. Tiny homes are not 800 square feet. Tiny homes are far smaller than that. These are actually homes. They will not have, you know, a driveway as of standard. They will have a parking lot that looks more like a parking lot for an apartment. If you want to look at it, you know, any way specifically, it's almost like having a deconstructed apartment complex where the units are standalone, and they'll have a yard, they'll have all the things that a single-family home would have, which is not something that we have a lot of here in town. So it's a new concept. I certainly hope it's successful, because if it's successful, we could see some more of these things and, you know, continue towards answering some of our questions and needs in residential.
Okay. So is Kyle LeBrew going to be building it, or is it Rick, or a combination?
Rick is the owner, so Kyle LeBrew and LeBrew Construction is his subcontractor currently.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Hoffman.
Last time I spoke to Rick, he was planning on 2-bedroom, 1 3/4 bath with a loft. That may have changed. I don't know, but that was a conversation we had at one point.
Okay, just
That's
curious.
consistent
Thank you.
with what I've heard as well.
Yeah, 800 square feet was what he said to me, so yeah.
Alderman Rucker.
Yes, a couple concerns with what information you gave us. One is they will not be required to bring Lyons Road up to city standards, correct?
We're going to require that they bring it up to standard for like any other public street that the road district would handle.
Well, if they, so we are taking the position that it's going to, that they're going to turn that road over to the city?
No.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to get at. You've indicated a hard surface, so it's my opinion, well, it's not my opinion. I'm just looking at that two things are going to, one or two things are going to happen. They're going to bring the road and try to present it to the city for the city to accept it, or they're not. Okay, so if they don't, which that's, we're not passing this on the condition of one of those two situations. But if they don't bring it to us to accept it in our inventory, then what I'm trying to figure out is what standards do they have to make Lyons Road? Or do we have any standards at all, Carrie, that you just mentioned hard surface.
Right.
I mean, hard surface can be a 1-inch asphalt. I mean, so what is, we can't require that road be brought into the city.
No, and
So I'm just trying to figure out what kind of road are we going to get? What are we getting with the situation we have right now?
okay, so what I would require, or what I would be looking for, would be something similar to what, say, the road district did with Gamble Circle where I live, okay? I'm not asking or requiring them to do a complete road construction, curb and gutter and all of those things, but in typical, we would see is a 2 to 3 inch, asphalt lift, on a gravel road that is an existing private road. To require a complete road, reconstruction would, one, it's a private road now, so it exists. And we ask that they upgrade it to address the impact that their development is going to have on it. So that's what I would say. And whether or not, they come in and request, the city take it, it's something that the plans will be done for the road. They'll go through, Drew, and Drew can go through them. And if he has anything that he wants to see further than what they've got, they can work that out between the engineers. But my goal is to get it, upgraded to a hard surface street that meets, the residential requirements that we would have for an existing street.
Okay. You've mentioned a couple of things that I don't like hearing you say. I think we need to understand that we as a board, if we are going to accept this, what you're being put on table, it does not include the special road district being involved.
No.
You've said that a couple times, that, we've worked with the road district and how the road district, because we need to separate that. They have talked to the road district, I'm aware of that, but we need to put this before the board that he may do it all on his own and not to the road district's standards or whatever. I mean, if he does that, okay. I just think we need to be very clear with that, because that's the way I understand it's supposed to be.
Well, to clarify, I didn't say that they've been working with the road district.
Well, you mentioned during your presentation about
I
it.
mentioned the one that the road district did for Gamble, and that's what I would expect. That's how they've done it. But no, if the road district does not approve it, Mr. Ellerman understands that he will be required to resurface that road before we'll give a CO to any of those units.
I just want to make sure the rest of the
Yeah.
board understands. I
Yes.
realize there has been some conversation, but that's not the premise that we need to be passing it on.
No, I'm not asking that it be done with the road district doing anything. They're
Right.
not mentioned in the report at all.
Right.
So no.
Okay, I'm going to make that very clear. Thank you.
Anyone else? Alderman Hoffman.
Sorry, I didn't present that well, Alderman Rucker. I was just trying to get it out there that he had been pursuing it and he had options on getting the roads done. He is quite aware that if the road district doesn't do it, that it's not just on him. There's four owners of property on that road. So,
All right, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Alderman Rucker, do I have a second?
second.
Alderman Hoffman, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Motion passes, and I know you need to leave. Carrie, before you leave, do you have anything you want to report as far as city planner?
No, sir, do not.
Go home and take care of that little girl.
Go Chiefs.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, is your TV big enough to watch the game?
I'll be able to see it.
Thanks, Gary.
Thank you, Carrie. All right, next we're going to move on to, sorry, I'm getting this down now. Tara, I'm doing okay, though.
You're doing great. Hey,
Alderman Rucker, you can teach an old dog new tricks. All right? Just so you
Sometimes
know.
the dog don't like new tricks.
All right, this is agenda item Bill 25-05, an ordinance of the City of Osage Beach, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to approve a contract with Four Seasons Plumbing LLC for the Margaritaville Sewer Relocation Project for an amount not to exceed $67,659. This is the first reading. City engineer, almost said it, Drew Bowman, please.
Mayor, members of the board, this project is the Margaritaville Sewer Relocation Project. It relocates and realigns the major gravity sewer line that comes out of the Margaritaville facility to the city-owned and operated sewer station. The new and improved alignment of the gravity sewer main will allow for the wet well to dramatically increase the holding capacity and reduce the amount of stress on the sizable pumps that are in the wet well. I do recommend approval.
All right, Alderman Hoffman.
Yeah, this isn't anything against Four Seasons. I actually used them myself, and I've always been very pleased with their performance. But we're using them for the water loop, too. I'm just wondering, are we putting, I mean, I don't know how big that company is, but they're from the lake. Are we putting too much on them? Is that a concern?
I did speak with them, and they, they're confident they can handle the projects that they have awarded right now. And they do really great work for us. We've used them before, and I think showing confidence right now would probably really help and solidify that company.
Okay. Sounds good. Thanks.
Very good. Anyone else? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve first reading?
So moved.
Alderman Roche, do I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Rucker. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Bill 2505, first reading passes. Next, we have Bill 2507, an ordinance of the City of Osage Beach, Missouri, to amend the Missouri Highway and Transportation Commission State Block Grant Agreement for Rehabilitate Runway 422 and lighting to issuing the city the amount not to exceed $3,990,569. This is the first reading. This you Drew?
Yes,
Okay.
and I did want to extend an apology. So I did initially believe that this amendment was only a time extension. However, I did speak with MoDOT to get some clarification. And this is actually to obligate the funds for the construction and the construction inspection. So right now, the agreement that we have on record, it was just for the design. And so now that we are in the construction phase and the construction inspection phase, they're being proactive, and we want to be proactive and make sure that these funds are obligated now, so that when we start construction, that we have the pool of money to be reimbursed from. So I do apologize for the error, but did just want to, clarify.
Drew, if you would, it's been, and I'm going to address this at the comments tonight, but just since people are still tuned in, there was an article that went out that Osage Beach approves $3.99 million runway rehabilitation project, and then everybody started talking about how we got $4 million, but yet we got all these problems with the city. Could you explain to everyone, for the record, where this almost $4 million comes from?
Yeah, so this is a federal grant from the FAA that is being awarded from the FAA and being passed through MoDOT. Since this is a grant, there's a 90-10 split. So 90% of the money is funded by the FAA through the grant, and then the city matches 10% of that amount. And then all of our costs at 90% can be reimbursed.
Say that last part again, please.
90% of our costs for this project will be reimbursed by the FAA.
All right. Thank you. Comments or questions from the board? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve first reading?
So moved.
Alderman Morose, do I have a second? Alderman Barella. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Motion carries. Or, excuse me, first reading carries. Yes. Yes.
I just, well, it came to my attention that, just came to my attention that Bill 2506, the veterans lease, is not on here under unfinished business. Completely my error. I will get the second reading up on the next meeting. I don't know how I missed moving it over to this agenda, but I will get it posted. I will get the second reading on to our next meeting.
And that,
Subject?
The veterans lease agreement for downstairs.
okay. You can go ahead and explain it.
Yeah, we did the first reading last week, or at the last meeting.
I haven't approved the lease yet.
I don't think we did that last
No.
meeting.
Hold on, it's right here. We didn't do it yet?
No.
No, because I haven't approved the lease. I still have some kinks to work out.
Okay. So I didn't get it on there. Let me tell you, I need some sleep.
I was gonna say, I don't remember.
We're interviewing deputies, and we're interviewing 4 tomorrow. I'm so excited. So we're getting that going. So, no, 2506 will be on their next agenda.
Okay.
As soon as Cole gets the thing. Never mind.
So you could have
Rewind.
just said
No
nothing. and
Be kind, rewind.
She's a Broncos fan, cut her some slack.
All right, next item on the agenda, we are not going to go through, but rather than reading it, I'm going to turn this over to our city attorney, Cole Bradbury, please.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. As you all saw via email this morning, the developer has asked to withdraw this agenda item. As I told you, when this first came up, there were some very fluid negotiations, conversations about the bond financing for this project and what a subsequent funding round might look like. Long story short, the developer has proposed, at least as of today, possible changes that do not involve the TIF at all or the TIF commission, and so there's no need to call the TIF commission. So with that, staff would recommend a motion to table.
All right. Do I have a motion to table?
I make a motion, we table Resolution 2502 as it deals with the Oasis Property Tax Increment Financing District.
Very good. Do I have a second? Alderman Hoffman. All those in favor?
I,
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good. All right, next we have a motion to appoint Luke Hagedorn to the Planning Commission. This one's on me. As you know, Luke has been around the area for quite a while. He's been our Citizens Advisory Committee, and we had a position open for this position. And I met with him, talked with him about it. I think he'd be a fine candidate. So I'll take any comments or questions you have about Luke Hagedorn.
Who is he replacing?
Tara, you remember?
Bill
Morgan.
Bill Morgan.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Who moved out of city limits.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yes. All right. No comments or questions. I do recommend approval. Do I have a motion to approve?
Clarification, please.
Yes, sir.
Because the blue sheet says one thing, and I believe there's some change.
Yes,
You want to
the
type that?
date. The change on the blue sheet says 2009 to 2029, I believe. And that was an error on my fault. It's 26. Or
2026?
2026, yes. So then we'll renew again in 2026 when we renew everyone else.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That June 1st of 2026. Yes, that was a typo on my error. So
Boy, you're
I'm
2 for
full,
2.
you know what? I am just about ready to, full of errors. Let's do one more. And then I can have a hat trick. Let's do it. Find another one, people. Find another one.
All right. Any other questions, or do I have a motion to approve, Luke?
motion to approve.
Alderman Hoffman, Alderman Burrell, a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Congratulations, Luke. All right. All right, we'll see how you do with this one, Tara.
This one I'm really going to screw up.
We have
All
a
right.
motion to modify the Thursday, June 19th, and the July 3rd, 25 regular board meetings. Tara, would you like to try this one?
No, I don't, but I'm going to. I'm going to screw this one up, too. I emailed everyone about the changes for the June 19th day, and we're going to move, or the request was given. We're going to move that one to, see, look, I'm going to have to get my calendar, screw this one up again. See, I didn't have my blue sheet in front of me. Moving that one to the 17th at 5:30. Alderman Rucker was nice enough to meet with the Joint Sewer Board. They're going to move their meeting up to 3:30, which should give them plenty of time to get back here by 5:30. That would be Devin and Mayor Hermanson, and Alderman Rucker will have plenty of time to get back for that one. Then we're going to make, the next change will be July 3rd. We're going to move that one to Wednesday at 5:30. If I
July
recommend.
2nd.
July 2nd.
Told you, hat trick right there.
You were so close.
Did it. So, yeah, I recommend approval. And that's the last time I'm talking. So you don't even need to ask me if I have staff comments, because I don't. I'm done for the night.
All right. Well, does anybody have any comments or questions for her?
Please don't.
Yeah, thank you. Anyway, do I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Alderman Morose, do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Alderman Rucker, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Motion does carry.
Lord.
You really got to quit drinking on the job.
I
All right, next we have a motion to approve the purchase of roadway making paint from PPG for an amount, marking paint, not to exceed $28,270. Public Works Operation Manager, Zach Wilbur, please.
Thank you. Mayor, members of the board, this will be our annual purchase for paint. A little higher this year just because we're trying to refresh everything on the public roads. This will include lanes, stop bars, arrows, everything white and yellow on the asphalt, concrete. It's going to be just shy of 30 grand. I do recommend approval.
All right, comments or questions from the board? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Alderman Rucker, do I have a second? Alderman Morose, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, any opposed? Motion carries. Last item is a discussion item, and again, it says Zach Wilbur on the Swiss Village Treatment Plan.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. I believe this was on the department update list, but with the turnover, it may not have ever got presented to the board of what came of the pilot study that we did. So back in 2023, there was talk about treating the west side water system, the combined water out of Altair, Swiss 1, and Swiss 3. So we had SEH come down and perform a pilot test study on the well to see what the possibility of treating the manganese was that was causing a lot of our dirty water issues. It is removable, because I'll answer any questions about the pilot study that we have, but just for highlights, page 106 of 124 for the actual packet number. If you look at the raw water quality data, the raw water quality coming out of Swiss 1 and 3 for the iron is 0.05, and the average on the manganese is 0.043. You want to keep manganese, but you want to keep iron below 0.3 parts per million or milligrams per liter, and you want to keep manganese below 0.05 milligrams per liter. So for Swiss 1 and 3, those both fall underneath those minimums on their averages. If you look at the Swiss 2, the Altera site, its average on the iron content is 0.2 parts per million. It's getting close to that 0.3, which creates red water. And its manganese load is magnitudes higher at the 0.1, where we want to see that around 0.05 parts per million. So the studies showed that the raw water samples, that water coming out of Swiss 2 has the highest iron and the highest manganese load by far. The other highlight to mention would be the treatment recommendation on page 118. Similar to all kind of oxidation and filtration processes, they can remove them, could remove the combined water to almost unnoticeable standards or unnoticeable residuals through chlorination and filtration with the green sand media. Last big point out is the page 120 when it shows the total estimated project budget is roughly $12 million. So we never pursued it because of the price tag doesn't justify the cost to treat just that Swiss 2 well where they're noticing all the problems. Swiss 2 well is now an emergency status, so it will only be used in emergency levels. It keeps that water out of the system. Since we've done that, the dirty water calls have gone way down. We don't get issues like we normally do. There is still a lot of iron oxide in the system, and it does break loose every once in a while. We will get dirty water calls that we'll have to go flush out, but there's been a marked difference from flushing every single or 3 days a week to now we just spot do it a couple times in the summertime whenever we have issues. So good news is the study showed us that we only have issues with one well. We don't staff does not feel it's worth the $12 million to just treat that water out of that one well when we can punch a new well for what we're thinking 1.18 million now. So we could just go with a brand new well at a tenth of the cost. I'm happy to answer any questions, and I hope that all made sense.
All right, Alderman Rucker.
When we punch if we punch another well, can we abandon well 3 or well 2? Okay. Can we abandon that and use any of that equipment and parts for the new well, or is that?
No, it is. It's not the oldest one, but it was put in, it was the second one in the system. It's pretty much, if we were to take it, we could use it in emergency. If we were going to use it as a production well again, we'd actually have to put money back into it because of the state it's in.
So
The electronic controls are aged, the
so
drive.
the program, is it just to keep it as a backup, or are you looking at abandoning it?
Right now, we need it as a backup. Remember back from the water study, the Swiss 1 and Swiss 3 cannot carry the summertime load. One of them can't do it by themselves. You need 2 pumps. If you lose one of those pumps, you'll run out of water eventually. That emergency, although the water clarity isn't the best, it would keep everybody with water. Now, in the future, yeah, if we get that 3rd well or 4th well, then yep, we can go ahead and plug and cap that site.
Okay.
Any other comments from the board? Were you looking for direction, or are you just following?
No, it was on the department update list, so just kind of letting everybody know and check that box. And I would assume that everybody's under the same impression to move forward with just the new well approach versus the $12 million treatment.
Getting a lot of shaking heads. All right, thank you very much, Zach.
Thank you.
All right, that's the end of our items under the agenda. Now we're going to move on to discuss our communications. Where are we going to move on to? Staff communications.
Ask Tara.
Let's start with Devin Lake, please.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the board. I wanted to report that we are doing interviews for the Business Development Coordinator starting next week. We have done interviews for Construction Inspector and Deputy City Clerk this week, so we should be moving forward with those added positions in the next 30 days, hopefully. That's all I have.
Very good. City Attorney Cole Bradbury.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. I think you have all of my updates for now, but just say go Chiefs.
We're skipping you. City Clerk.
Yeah, no, So I did get everybody set up for your legislative conference. It's February 18th and 19th. I will be shooting you out emails to where you're staying. It's all under each of your individual names. So you got your hotel rooms. They're staying at the Beaumont, not at the Capitol. So you have a little bit, but I will shoot you a clip of my credit card so you can show them. Also, I will send you each a copy of the tax exempt form you need to take, so you don't get charged taxes on your hotel room, okay? But other than that, you're all set up and ready to go.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's it. I have nothing else.
All right, Chief Davis.
Just want to recognize the officers that handled the ATM robbery at Oak Star Bank a week or so ago. They all worked together, gathered all the information that needed, along with some other agencies from outside the area. We were able to get a description of the car, plug it into the LPR cameras, and that vehicle was later located in Oklahoma, and a pursuit ensued. 4 subjects in custody. They recovered $11,400 taken from our ATM. So they all worked together, did a great job on that. We also, the same night, had a stolen vehicle from Osage Cat Fisheries, and that vehicle was recovered using the LPR in Kansas City metro area. So there's been 2 good uses of that, and we don't have any in our city yet. They will be installed hopefully by probably Memorial Day weekend is what we're shooting for. So we should have 6.
Very good.
All right.
But great job on all the guys and gals.
Assistant City Administrator April White, please.
Yes, Mayor and members of the board. I wanted to announce that the city was awarded its 25th consecutive Certificate of Achievement for excellence in financial reporting. So this certificate is presented to government units whose annual financial reports are presented, judged, and adhered to program standards, and it represents the highest award in government financial reporting. So there's one person who has been here for all 25 of those consecutive awards, and that's Carrie Bell. So wanted to congratulate the city and Carrie Bell.
All right, very good. All right, Ron White, you want to follow that up?
I won't pretend to be able to follow Carrie Bell. Congratulations, Carrie, first and foremost. I do have to report that during our last bout with the extreme cold around January 10th, we had a series of events that led to the loss of both heat exchangers in our City Hall boilers. The cracks in these exchangers resulted in a failed central heating system, and the cause is, the absolute cause is currently undetermined, but we are going to continue researching and investigating on that. So following that, this building is currently still without a central heat system. We have made adjustments to our vestibule and stairwell electric heaters, as well as some heating systems that are used to heat the fresh air that comes into the building, and we are able to maintain temperature. We've been blessed with some good temperatures here in the last few days, so I don't know how long that's going to last. Following those events, I met with the city administrator and the mayor, and they decided to declare this an emergency. As defined by our ordinances, an emergency is a disaster declared by the mayor, or when a breakdown in machinery or equipment is, or termination of essential services will affect the health, safety, and welfare of the employees or the public. To make this purchase, this emergency purchase, if it's between $50,000 and $75,000, we can do that with the mayor's approval. And so that's what we did. As a result, I went out to 6 different mechanical services companies, including our contract HVAC maintenance contractor. 3 of those companies visited the site, all provided the same 2 options: replace the heat exchangers in both units. Those heat exchangers had a 6 to 8 week lead time following a commitment to purchase, or 2, replace the entire boilers. And there were some boilers in stock, so we had to make a decision. I got 3 good bids: Gold Mechanical, Geo Services, and Springfield Mechanical. The bids were all over the board. It depends on how much business you do with these manufacturers. Some of the bids, like replace both heat exchangers, $40,000, but that would be 6 to 8 weeks out before before that company could receive them, and then they have to come here and install them. Well, it would be practically to summer by then. Anyway, what was determined, or what was decided, was that we awarded the contract to Gold Mechanical to replace 1 complete boiler that is in stock. One operating boiler running at 100% can maintain this building, especially with the temperatures that are forecasted from here on. Even if we hit some extreme cold later on in the month, we could reduce to every other unit and we'd be able to maintain the temperature. This option will also ask for, we have signed a contract for them to order a heat exchanger to repair the other boiler, because that's at a far less cost. So anyway, that's, I am required by the ordinances to provide this report to you guys. The contract amount would exhaust my building maintenance budget. So a budget amendment will be necessary, and that will be on the next board meeting for you all to review and see. The total expense for this is, I know I have this, my apologies. The total estimated expense is $48,000 to $54,000. The reason for the variation is because when these boilers went out, they burn up the glycol in the loop. So that glycol, whenever they flush the loop, we have to then test the water for conditioning, and glycol levels, and if we have to add no glycol, then we're looking at like $8,000. If we have to put in the full 350 gallons of glycol, then the cost is $14,000. So it's all going to be one of those, well, it depends, but that's where we're at. And sorry I didn't have something nicer to report.
All right. Well, I appreciate you keeping the building somewhat warm. When I got here, Alderman Rose asked why I had a jacket on. I said, well, because my office was 65 degrees earlier. Last week, I think it was 45, or not 45, 55. Yes. But anyway, thanks for all your work and the education.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right. Airport Manager Ty Dinsdale, please.
Yeah, thank you. I don't have anything really exciting to report, but just a reminder, since we were talking about some airport funding earlier, I want to remind everybody also that the airport receives $150,000 a year from the state that's non-primary entitlement funds. And those funds you're able to bank those funds for 4 years before you have to use them. So that's another way that airports are able to fund some of these big projects, is they can stack up that non-primary entitlement funds that they're getting from the state. So just wanted to keep that out, everybody aware.
Good information. Thank you, Ty. Harry Gregory, Parks.
Yes, sir. Don't have too much. Parks Department's continuing with off-season park improvement projects throughout both parks, and to the new dog park, which has been crazy busy, especially with the 75-degree weather we had the other day. It was pretty crazy. Just a reminder to the public, those listening at home, Youth League Baseball and Softball registration started on February 3rd, and the end date is March 14th. So that's for T-ball, 8U, coach pitch, 10U, 12U. And you can find the information on the city website, or if you have any other questions, you're welcome to call the Parks Department. And also, we currently have a vacant park tech position, and unfortunately, we're going to advertise a rec specialist position that's tomorrow. So 2 positions for the parks. If you're interested or you have questions, see the job openings on the city website or give the Parks Department a call. That's all I have.
All right, thank you very much. Zach Wilbur.
Thank you, sir. Big notable things last week or so. Had fun working with Jamie on these snowplow names. It's nice to see all the involvement. Actually, the dog even came down the other day, so that was fun. Rockaway panel is scheduled for install next week, so that'll be a good one to finally get off the list. It's been sitting on the floor for about a month now, and everything's kind of lining up with the weather, and should be good to go on that. One of the Grid Smart cameras went in on the outlet mall today, so it got 3 of the 7 sites standardized. We plan to buy 2 more to have. It must have been 4. We'll have almost all but 1 site standardized after this year. So it's nice just to see those new traffic control devices going in. Should help with the flow, congestion, and as everybody moves through the city. I'd also like to welcome Raymond Klutz. He started with us recently. Don't think I shouted him out at the last meeting, but it's been 2 weeks, maybe in some change. New sewer tech ad. It's good to have him on. Good to see people come in and be excited to get stuff done. Thank you.
All right, thank you much. Drew Bowman, engineer.
Oh, nothing really too exciting to add tonight. Just trying to get home to my today 4-year-old. Shout out to Oliver. And we're going to have some cake later at home, so.
All right, Carrie Bell.
Yes, Mayor and Board of Aldermen. April won't say it, but she's responsible for half of the product of producing this annual financial reward, and it takes a team. This is really a team effort. All the department heads, I'm totally dependent on so much data they provide. The Mayor and Board of Aldermen, your support in this, getting this, keeping up with all of the training that's necessary. I thank you for all of that, and yep, 25. It's a nice clean number, isn't it? Yep. We'll put the little sticker on in the room next door in the little case, and But thank you all for your support. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you. All right, Alderman, you know what? Tara and I were talking here a couple of weeks ago about the order which we do things sometimes, and we thought it might be a good idea to switch things up. A lot of times we start over here. By the time we get over here, half of what they said, you've already said. So why don't we switch it up a little bit and go Alderman Rose first, please?
All right.
There you go.
Well, first of all, congratulations, Carrie and April. And secondly, I am just been so impressed, and I made a comment to Jamie regarding the monthly newsletter. I think it just looks awesome, and the more we can get the word around to people. I was at the senior center this week, and I walked around telling ladies that were there, you know, you can now, if you're saying you don't know what the world's going on with the city, we're still trying to introduce you what is going on by this newsletter. So I told them how to go about it to get on to watch for it. And I had a question. Drew, is there anything that's going on with MoDOT or anything with us? And I'm referring to the entrance of Three Seasons and KK, the entrance there. I haven't heard anything about it, and
Yeah, so I did talk through some different scenarios with administration and with MoDOT. So we latched onto this idea of we can try to improve safety at this site by maybe just changing how the traffic pattern is laid out. And by that I mean the marking paint at the site. So the main safety concern is the large trucks making that turn from KK onto Three Seasons Road, that right-hand turn, and then either getting into oncoming traffic or maybe getting hung up on that
or
corner.
trailers with large boats.
Right, and so what I'm suggesting is we combine the left and the right turn lane from Three Seasons onto KK, and move all traffic and shift it over a little bit. Create like a truck apron with some paint and just try and increase safety that way and with the pavement marking, rather than try and do a full-blown capital improvement project, because there are some difficulties with utilities and being technically out of city limits and some other technical issues. But I think if we address it this way, I think it could potentially solve the problem and be a really low impact for the city.
So what's the progress as far as looking for finality, in other words, of being finished?
I would suggest that I'm going to partner with Rob in the transportation department and see when they were planning to get that far in their plan for pavement marking, and go out there and try and lay it out with them and make sure they're on board.
Okay. All right, thank you. That's it.
Very good. Alderman Osteen.
I guess, first of all, hi, everyone. Been a while. I would like to thank the city. Okay, it's gonna be difficult. I'd like to thank the city for all their support during what has been a very difficult time with the passing of my father. There is obviously never a good time for someone to die, but losing someone during the holiday season adds another layer to the emotions and to your grief. Funny thing about grief, when you lose a loved one, basically it's as if time stands still and your world revolves around that death and that grief, yet the world around you continues to spin. Once you come out of that fog and try to get some semblance of a normal life, you are there, but you're not really there. It's as if you've woken up from a coma. I think the gist of what I'm trying to say is, even though I'm back, I don't feel like I'm 100% there still. So it may take a while for me to get back to sharing my witty comments and my strong opinions, so bear with me. I would like to commend our 911 call center and our EMT services for their professionalism and support, since obviously they were part of the passing of my father, and I had one-on-one interactions with them. So kudos to them and thank them for all of their help. Congratulations to the staff involved with us receiving our 25th year in a row on the award for our financials. Obviously, Carrie, you've always been the backbone of that for 25 years, so thank you so much. Other than that, go Eagles.
Alderman Hoffman, your turn.
Talk about turning your whole thing 180 degrees.
Well, and I was about to say, you've never had witty comments, so don't feel bad.
I want to commend the staff on something that we were really taking to heart when I first got elected was getting positions up on the site, getting people interviewed, and the onboarding process, which I feel was just maybe slow, maybe just antiquated, but it has really improved, and I really appreciate it. And I've heard community people out there talking about how much better and easier it is to find jobs and information on our website. So job well done on that. If Carrie Bell ever puts in to retire, I think you just throw that away, Mr. Mayor. Just a thought. And lastly, go Chiefs.
Yeah.
Alderman Barilla.
It's good to have you back, Bob. I actually just had a question for Eric, and maybe I'm asking too soon, or maybe I missed it, about the concessions. Since the sports are starting back up, and I know we had ballparks come and present to us, and I was just curious about what was going on with that.
No, we've actually had conversations with the scout troop here in town about running our concession stand, and they're interested in that. And Cole is going to work on a contract for us, and it'll be on the next agenda.
Okay.
And we'll see what the board wants to do.
All right, that's all you had?
That's it.
All right, Alderman Rucker.
Yes, I have one item that I'd like to follow up on. And I guess I want to lead into it by saying, I take the responsibility of an elected official to heart, and I believe it's ultimately our responsibility to provide our staff with the equipment and the tools that they need to do their job. And I think that's the primary job that elected officials need to be looking at. Whether it's the fact of you're getting them a snowplow or a vehicle, or how old the vehicle is, which we know we have some difference of opinion on that, or when the staff brings about information to us on equipment or items that they need. And I lead into that by saying this board, I feel, most of the time agrees and is able to move forward with providing staff with that information or that equipment and stuff. I would like to say to the people who are listening out there to get on your bandwagon and talk to your Camden County commissioners, because they definitely are not doing that. And what I'm referring to is the LPRs. The license plate, is the LPR correct?
Readers, yes.
Yeah, readers, I think is very obvious. And not only did it help out in taking a crime that was committed on January 23rd at 2:30 in the morning, and 32 hours later, I get a news release that these guys are caught. I'm sure they were caught sooner than 32 hours, but that's when we were notified with a news break. And I realized there was some good, hard work by the detectives and the force. These LPRs didn't do it alone, but they did an awful, awful, awful lot. I didn't realize we also had a truck that night that those devices also helped out. So I think it's important that we listen to our staff and they bring this technology. And I also think that not only do we need to reach out to our Camden County commissioners, because if this crime had occurred in the county, they probably wouldn't have been caught. Not because the county sheriff's department is not good, but because they wouldn't have access to those things and through their ordinances. They're not able to use them. I don't know if they can use them even if they're not in their county, but the ordinance in the county says they won't allow them in the unincorporated portion of the county, and that's why we will be having them here in Osage Beach. I also would like to get a little bit of information pulled together, and Chief, maybe you can help me with this, because House Bill 658 which has been filed, and filed by one of our local representatives, is, from my understanding, trying to remove that from the state. Again, we have evidence here of some real good work that was done because of this technology. And I applaud this board for approving the installation in our city when our staff brought it to them, brought it to us. And I think we need to do what we can. I've already sent my letters to to one of the commissioners, and I plan on having some personal conversations with them because this is going to help our county. We have proven fact 2 situations it's helped us. So we need to take that and run with it. Thank you.
Thank you. You stole part of my thunder. That's okay.
Maybe you're going to have to go first then.
No, that's okay.
I was going to throw something out, but I knew you were coming with it.
No, I actually start off on a positive note, so I might be a little wild tonight. First of all, yeah, Carrie, very nice job. Thank you so much. And April, thank you for all your help. I know you were part of the team as well, so appreciate you both. That's 25 years. And no, you should not leave anytime soon. So the second thing is, and nobody has said this yet, but I wanted to make sure that Selena Franklin has received some information. She was our employee of the fourth quarter last year. And I'm just going to read what they said because, yeah, she's done a wonderful job here. But Selena is the definition of a team player. She has taken a new role with the city as the AP payroll clerk and has still managed to train a new building secretary. Since that employee has left, she continues to manage her position as well as lend a hand to the building department until a replacement is hired. She never complains about the additional responsibility and is always willing to help out in front and cover when needed. She projects a lot of positive energy, creating a better work environment for all. So if you see her or send her an email, so congratulations, Selena, for a job well done. We appreciate it. The other thing, just an update, the Osage Beach welcome sign. I bugged Drew quite a bit about that because I walked by there quite a bit, and I said, what are they doing? They put the 2 posts up months ago and blah, blah, blah. So my typical fashion, I said, can you give me the name of that company? I just want to call the guy. And so I called him Springfield Sign, expecting to say, oh, blah, blah, blah. But the guy was super nice. They got the poles installed, the concrete had to sit. And right now they are working with our local Southwest Stone. So we have a local company providing that. And the stone we've selected is on back order. And hopefully it'll be here next week sometime so they'll get started on that again. So it is moving forward, and that's the update on that. All right, now, this is what, I make my notes and then I kind of just go from there, but I cannot congratulate our police department detectives more than, I mean, just chief, officers, detectives, thank you so much for what you did. We've been on national news lately, and the license plate readers have been a big thing around here. And I've been doing a lot of research myself. I was approached months ago and I was told how bad these were and infringement on our Fourth Amendment right and all this other stuff. So what I normally do is I try to educate myself to form an opinion. And one thing that I find, and it's my opinion, because no matter what I say up here tonight, I know there's going to be memes out there about it tomorrow with silly pictures of me on some wild, I don't know, it's hard to say what the memes will be, but you know what, I'm a big boy, I can take it. But the Fourth Amendment, and as I started to go down that rabbit hole, because a lot of people that are very upset about these license plate readers continue to say it's a violation of the Fourth Amendment. And I've had conversations, I'm not an attorney, I don't play one on TV or anything else like that, but you know, the Fourth Amendment, if you Google it, I'm just going to read, not the whole thing obviously, but it protects citizens from unreasonable searches and seizures by the government. It states that people have the right to be secure in their homes, papers, and possessions. So in your home, papers, possessions, whatever. So let's be clear, a license plate is not your property. When you go to get your lease, basically, your license plate, is a government document. They let you use that. The government lets you use that license plate so you can legally drive on their road. Okay? It's not your property. So, and I was talking around the other day, and you're driving on their road. So you have a government-issued document. It's on their road, and they're taking a picture of that document. They're not taking a picture of you. They're not pulling you over, asking for anything. So when we approved these months ago to be in Osage Beach, and then all of a sudden, as you know what happened down in Camden County, we'll see how that all pans out. But the Facebook comments have just been astronomical, and there's so many things out there that are not opinions. Everybody's an attorney out there. Everybody knows this, you know, but in my opinion, you cannot say that a government-issued document and you have the government tracking that document, driving on their road, is a violation of your personal rights. You just can't sell me on that. So with everything that happened here, and I agree, I was going to bring House Bill 658. I mean, there's our new rep out there trying to ban these statewide, and I just think that's wrong. I think you do have a right to privacy, obviously, okay? But you start talking on your cell phone, and the next thing you know, you're getting ads on what you were just talking about. Now, the argument could be made that you could leave your cell phone at home, all right? You could turn it, whatever. But the point being is, driving down the road and they take a picture of their own property, in my opinion, is not a violation of your rights. It's their document. With this case here, the four individuals that were caught, another argument has been that, yeah, they can help solve a crime maybe, but they cannot stop a crime. If you read the articles, you know, one of those gentlemen at one time had a warrant out for arrest for murder. There obviously investigations going on. I don't know this for a fact, but there has been several ATM people broken into, banks and have been broken into. Who knows how many crimes this stopped? Almost $50,000 in their car. Who knows how much drugs they're going to buy with that? Who knows how much fentanyl? Who knows? But point being is, I believe that because of our detective work and modern day technology, we solved this case, and I also think that we had the chance to solve many other possible things down the future. So anyway, that's all I'm going to say on that at this time, but it's not your property, folks. You lease it from the government, and quite frankly, there's many things that you can do, infractions that you can commit where they can take that license plate away from you. And so the other thing I want to address too, and this is kind of touchy grounds, but for some reason, Osage Beach seems to be in the crosshairs of so many people out there, and I have yet to figure out why. Our doors are open. You can Google my number. Give me a call. Come talk to me. But for whatever reason, we're in the crosshairs, and I don't quite know yet. Facebook recently, we have, you know, our aldermen here make decisions for our city. I've never seen our aldermen make comments disparaging about other cities' aldermen, whether in print. Well, we have an alderman from a nearby city. I was going to say the name, but I'm not. You can ask me later. But he continues to badmouth our city and our aldermen, and I don't get it. There was a little thing that went on Facebook the other night, and we were talking about the airport. This was on Missouri Network TV, and he said, take it off development, the item that we pulled from the agenda tonight. And the resolution is set for May 26th. This meeting will provide an opportunity for public input before the financial decision. Okay, well, it's just an informative article. Then all of a sudden you had an alderman from another town say, gotta love corporate welfare. Osage Beach Board of Aldermen seems to say yes to everything, and the public hearings don't seem to matter. And he has 3 little emojis, everybody's saying yes. And this guy's running for mayor. And he talks bad about us. Another article came out, $3.9 million for a runway rehabilitation project. And that's why I wanted you to explain where we get that money. Because this same person, Alderman that's running for mayor, says, yet they can't fix the sewer smell with a little nasty emoji. So he's attributing us spending almost $4 million, but we can't fix our own sewage problem. And then somebody locally says, well, who's paying this bill? Well, this person who knows everything says, I don't know, probably some of it's grant money. I would ask one of your aldermen, but it's the taxpayers. You know, I've said this repeatedly, but the people up here, the people down there, the city of Osage Beach really want to do a good thing for their citizens. If you have a complaint, I had a complaint. I've said this before, probably while I'm up there. I had a complaint. Maybe I didn't go about it the right way. I thought I did at the time, but you know what? I ran for office, and here I am. But so many people like to sit around their keyboard and complain. There's one local gal that keeps saying over and over and over, we need better leadership. We need better leadership. Never ran for office. Called my cell phone the other day, our mayor phone. I called her back and said, here's my number. Call me. Let's meet. Haven't heard a thing. So for those watching at home, I know I sound like I'm being all negative up here, but the local municipalities around here should be working together, not bad-mouthing each other. And if you have a problem, give us a call. Let's meet. Let's figure it out. And if it's a problem, by God, I want to fix it as much as anybody. I mean, I'll be the first one to say, that's right, let's fix it. So, Facebook warriors, have at me. All I'm doing here is trying to tell you that if you have a legitimate complaint, making silly, nasty emojis is not the way to get it resolved. Come here, talk to us. Get on the agenda. Give me a call. Let's have some coffee. In the last month, I've sat down with 2 people that actually reached out to me. I said, let's meet. We met for coffee, and an hour later, like, had no idea. Thanks for meeting with me, and they changed their tune. And by golly, if you're right, we got a problem, then we're here to fix it. So I'm sorry to be so long-winded, but I'm trying to protect our city when I can, and when I think that there's something we need to change, I'll try to do that as well. It's all right. And that's all I have, folks. Welcome back, Bob. And if I have a motion to adjourn, Alderman Rucker. Do I have a second?
Before
Yes, I'm
make
sorry.
the motion,
Yes, I'm sorry.
want to make an announcement. There will not be a closed session.
That's right.
It was on the agenda for those people that saw it. Just want everybody to know the matter is, we don't need a closed session. I just want to make sure it was put out there.
Very
And with
good.
that, I'll make a motion to close the meeting.
All right, thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Hoffman. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.